So this is PS Audio's Airlens, a little tiny minimalist wonder streamer. I'm going to tell you what it does really, really well and what it's not good at. Let's take a look at the PS Audio Airlens. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the PS Audio Airlens. It is a tiny, small, compact, I think it's around 4 or 5 pounds, streamer only. There's no DAC here. PS Audio claims this little Airlens streamer will make your music sound its absolute best, no matter the DAC you're using. It has 2 outputs, one coaxial, one I2 squared. PS Audio recommends the I squared output. You can customize all the settings right on the bottom of the Airlens via little switches. Very, very easy. I much prefer it as it was set up from the factory out of the box. All switches up makes the most sense to me. So let's talk about the specs, the features of the Airlens. The Airlens has both an input stage and a galvanically isolated reclocking output stage. The two are connected only through the air by using separate power supplies. There are no physical ground or signal connections, ensuring 100% isolation and noise-free delivery of perfect digital audio signals. PS Audio states that once connected to any DAC, the Airlens interface will bring exceptional transparency, resolution, timbral realism, and wide dynamics to any DAC. They also state that connecting your DAC via its coax or I2S inputs completely removes the haze and congestion caused by these noise sources. Now, on the bottom of the Airlens, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see these little switches here with a legend telling you what they all do. So from the factory, these are all up, and that's how I left them. That's how I would leave them for my use. But for example, you can change your PSM, your DSD settings, the DSD mode. It's set to native. It's set all the way up to DSD 256 out of the box. Volume control, enable or disable. I have it disabled because I'm using the volume control of the amp that I have it plugged into. I haven't even messed with the volume control here. And this says for options 7 and 8, see manual. So yeah, the settings are all here on the bottom. Unless you're specifically wanting something or not wanting something, I would just leave them all the way up from the factory. That's how everything has worked best for me. Designed and assembled in Boulder, Colorado with globally sourced components. So it is made in the USA. I think you pay a little more for that. Overall, very solid little streamer. All right, now that you've heard about the specs, the features, what this thing is all about, let me tell you about the sound quality. And this is the area where the Airlens really shines for me. Now, recently, not so long ago, I reviewed a flagship streamer from HiFi Rose, the RS130. I love the RS130. For me, it's pretty much the finest streamer that I've ever experienced, owned, had in here. I loved it so much that I actually had 2 of them in here at one time. I had a silver and a black because I wasn't sure which color I really wanted to keep. So let's talk about this Airlens. The Airlens comes in at $3,200 less than my favorite streamer, but how does it compare in regards to the sound quality, to the connectivity? Now, the PS Audio Airlens cannot stand toe-to-toe with the HiFi Rose RS130 when it comes to design or when it comes to features. The Airlens is pretty stripped down. It's a basic box, and it has no display screen, so you're not going to see album art or VU meters. It doesn't have a display screen to show you the title or name of the artist. It just does what it does, and it does it very well. You hook up to the Airlens. You can do Tidal Connect. It works with that very, very well. It will do Spotify Connect, but it drops out like crazy. It's not any kind of streamer that I would ever recommend for Spotify. But it also can work with Qobuz. You can use Connect, the app for it, to control it, or you can use Roon, which is the ultimate music software for any true music lover. Roon, you could set up, you buy a license, and it basically manages all your music, whether you have it stored on hard drives or you're streaming it from various streaming services. So where the PS Audio Airlens really excels is using it with Roon. It's a set it and forget it kind of device. You plug it in. I highly recommend hooking it up to your Ethernet, but it can also do Wi-Fi. And then you basically take your coax or your I2 squared out, and that will go to your DAC. Now, if you have a DAC that has an I2 squared input, again, this might be the perfect streamer that you've been looking for. I've tested this with the coax and the I2 squared out. The I2 squared out did in fact sound a little better to me, and I was using a $80 HDMI cable from AudioQuest, and for the coax I was using a $4,000 coax cable, yet the I2 squared sounded a little bit better to me going into the Dynafrips 12-1 Eris DAC. Beautiful DAC for under $1,000. Gives you that taste of Dynafrips in a little small package. Now the Airlens is small and tiny. You can hide it away in a cabinet, or you can leave it out if you like the looks of it. It is a little bit limited in features. You're not going to be able to stream, as far as I know, everything to it. It doesn't have a place to hook up a hard drive if you want to stream stored music. This is basically a streamer only, and it uses that galvanic isolation to keep noise and buzzes away from your system. You're not going to have a grounding issue with this piece because of the way it's designed. Now, in regards to sound quality, compared to the HiFi Rose RS130, the actual HiFi Rose RS130, my favorite streamer of all time, it doesn't have a DAC, it's just a streamer. The Airlens at $2,000, $3,200 less, does the 3D imaging thing better than the HiFi Rose. Overall, the HiFi Rose I prefer. It has a more meaty, punchy, refined, analog kind of sound. But the PS Audio Airlens has a little bit more of an exciting sound, but it also has tremendous bass quality. Going from something like the Wim Pro Plus streamer into the Dynafrips DAC to the Airlens, I am seeing an increase in bass and energy, in the holographic soundstage. So yes, streamers do make a difference. You're not going to get the same sound quality from a streamer that's $200 as you are from this Airlens that comes in at $2,000. There is a definite jump up in sound quality from the lower end streamers. And I have to say the Airlens gets mighty close to the high dollar streamers as well. It's just not as all out refined sounding to me. And what I mean by that is when I say refined, the HiFi Rose RS130 has not a trace of digital sound. It sounds like I'm listening to analog on steroids, better than analog sound. There's no grit, there's no hash, there's no noise. Now the PS Audio is fantastic at eliminating all of these things as well, but for some reason the PS Audio sounds a little more energetic, a little more alive, a little bit more 3D. Now some of you may prefer that sound to the sound of the RS130. So sound quality wise, the Airlens is absolutely fantastic. Now, many years ago, I had the previous version of the PS Audio Direct Stream DAC, and I had their streamer card called the Bridge. They have since released the Bridge 2, and then now the Airlens, which I think was dubbed, well, before it came out like a year ago, they were referring to it as the Bridge 3. So it really is just a bridge inside of a nice chassis, a nicely designed box, but it does have new features versus those older bridges. So I would say this is leagues better than any bridge that PS Audio released before it. When I was listening to the Wim Pro Plus going into the Access Forte 1's coax input, I was like, man, this sounds good. Why would I want to spend more for a streamer? Then I put in the Airlens, and there it was, a bigger, bolder, more three-dimensional sound. It was night and day. Then I plugged in a HiFi Rose RS130. The sound got a little more beefy in the mids, a little more just expansive in the room, but that's a much more expensive streamer. What about a streamer like the Eversolo DMP-A6? Now, I still have an A6 here. I pulled it out and I compared. The A6 to me in the treble area sounded a little more, I heard more of that hash, grain, and noise. The treble wasn't as refined or smooth. It was just a little more digital sounding. The PS Audio Airlens far excelled above the A6 for me when it comes to sound quality of the music being played. Now, again, the feature set of the Airlens is very minimal. It's for someone who wants to put their streamer in and kind of forget about it. And that's the beauty of it. It's kind of a beautiful thing. If you're using Roon, this might be the only streamer that you need to look at. Overall, the PS Audio Airlens is a fantastic music streamer whose sole focus lies on that sound quality. And that's how it was designed, to eliminate that traces of digital noise and hash and to bring you an experience unlike most streamers on the market. The Airlens is $2,000, but it gets you close to those $5,000 and up streamers. Far surpasses the $1,000, the $900, the $200 streamers that I've heard. So overall, highly recommend the PS Audio Airlens. I loved it for the way it brought the crisp highs, but yet it had a strong bass along with the wide open sound stage and transparency that allowed for the holographic 3D thing to happen. Now, I tested this with various speakers. The Borison X1s were amazing with the Airlens streaming the music, and I even compared it against the streamer in the Access Forte 1, which uses a pretty snazzy streamer, and the Airlens actually bettered it in the sound quality. The streamer inside of the Access was a little more about the details. The streamer in the PS Audio Airlens was more about the entire picture of the music. It's a firecracker for sound quality indeed, and if you're using it with Roon or Tidal Connect, it's going to blow you away once you start listening to some tunes. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you all, and I'll see you soon.